You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me on socials at SamLittle44 and the podcast at Maple Footy Pod. And now there's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, yes, and welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast. And today we have quite the special guest on with some very cool insights into footy. We're chatting with someone who's worn a few different hats in a few different places, whether it's coaching in his hometown of Oakville with Oakville Soccer Club or Oakville Futsal Club, becoming an opposition analyst and assistant coach with Sigma FC, being a video analyst and assistant coach at Vancouver FC, or moving out to Slovakia to become an assistant coach out there. He has done a lot in this game. Away from the game, he also knows how to speak 5 languages and is pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology. His name is Dominic Rajna. So, Dominic, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And so, just want to start this by starting at the beginning for you. Where'd the love of soccer come from, and what were some early moments where you're like, "Yeah, this is a sport for me"?
At the start, it was I was doing Taekwondo, which is martial arts, and didn't really enjoy it so much, and wanted to have a change. And my dad was playing soccer or football, as they call it in Europe,
Yeah.
at the time, and yeah, I took inspiration from him in a sense, where I was watching him play, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the intensity. I enjoyed the competitiveness, and I enjoyed how you needed so much fighting spirit to win football matches. And yeah, that's really what kind of motivated me at a young age. But it wasn't so young. I mean, kids nowadays they start 5, 6, 4, maybe even. So
Yeah.
for me, I was around 9 years old that I started. So probably had a little bit of a later start,
Mhm.
9, 10, something of the sort. So but yeah, I was definitely in love with the game from the first time I stepped out on that pitch.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And going from Taekwondo as well. You don't usually hear that, or at least I've never heard it, going from Taekwondo
Yeah.
to soccer. Yeah. That's quite the interesting pivot. Um, and now, just for viewers here, by my research, I found out that you started coaching when you were 12 years old. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, local kind of local youth clubs and things of the sort. But yeah, really more competitively, I would say around 15, 14, 15, around
Holy
that
cow.
age.
That's still
More,
so young.
more at it. Yeah.
Holy cow. What kind of transition from wanting to play it to then igniting that passion for coaching?
To be honest, I think all the kind of Sigma coaches that I had at the time know this about me. But even when I was a player, I was still, and I said this in several interviews that I've done in Slovakia as well.
Mhm.
When I was a player, I was thinking more about how to break down the opponent's block, or how to set up in the best way on a
Yeah.
set piece in terms of team level, rather than thinking about what I should be doing individually. So
Yeah.
I was already kind of putting my coach hat on quite early, and I think for that reason, it was very clear to me at a young age that yeah, I'm gonna be a coach and I'm gonna want to be a coach. But yeah, I think also for the people around me, whether it was my teammates and my coaches as well, I think it was quite clear and quite evident that this was the journey that I'm gonna go on.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool because especially like when you're playing at such a young age too. I mean, I don't know about like pros, but when I was playing, I would always be like, how can I do great for me and not always the
Yeah,
team? So it's really cool that you were able to transition that from how can I do great for a team and what can we kind of do here already looking at those fundamental things.
yeah, yeah. And listen, I wanted to kind of help out those around me as much as I can. I think I took on a leadership role at a young age, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that also I kind of keep in my pocket today in terms of that leadership. It's absolutely key in coaching, as everybody knows.
Absolutely, 100%. And how did those conversations go with, maybe your parents, guardians higher up in clubs and whatnot, that you want to start coaching at such a young age? Because, 12 kind of coaching at a more lower level, we'll say, and then 15 starting to properly like go. Because 15, you're still in high school, you're still grade 9 or 10, so you're still quite
Yeah,
young.
yeah, and that was the time I started really quite intensifying this and this pathway and this journey. To be honest, those conversations were very difficult, especially with my parents. I mean, it was
Mhm.
volunteer work at the start, and with that comes your parents sometimes and making big sacrifices. And obviously in
Yeah.
Canada, many teams are including Sigma pay to play in the sense that you pay and then you play. And
Mm.
ultimately it's to get a scholarship, and ultimately it's to move on potentially to the professional level, whatever that may be. And yeah, in my case, it was a little bit different. So I told my parents that I don't want to play football anymore, and that's a
Yeah.
big decision, obviously.
Yeah.
It also from the injury a little bit that I had, but yeah, obviously that was a big decision in the sense that okay, what's going to be next? Well, it's volunteer coaching, so my
Mm.
dad's going to be driving me because I didn't have a driver's
Yeah.
license at the
15.
time.
Yeah.
My dad's going to drive me 30 minutes to Paramount, Hershey Center, whatever it's called, and
Yeah.
from Oakville. And then he's gonna stay there for 4.5 hours with me because it's 3 sessions, 90 minutes each, 4.5 hours,
Holy
and then he's
cow.
gonna drive back half an hour. So I mean, huge commitment from my dad, from my mom sometimes, but it's obviously something that's part of the journey, and I'm thankful to them for it because without that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, parents are always the ones, right, that have to make those calls,
Absolutely.
make those sacrifices, and always in a lot of the interviews I do, always the unsung heroes, the ones that we don't see that are doing all the hard work. Well, not all the hard work, but a lot of hard work
Yeah,
for you to get you
absolutely.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for those who maybe for those viewers watching this or listening to this, who maybe want to start on a path similar to you, how did you go about getting your coaching A and B license? What's kind of that process look like?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out to me over the past few weeks, especially about this because I really, over the past few weeks, when I've been without a job,
Mhm.
it's been quite clear to me that kind of paying forward is important. So the help that I got from
Yeah.
others and my development, now I'm trying to pay it forward. And yeah, in terms of the starts, I mean, try to start as soon as possible. If you have a passion for it, then try to start as soon as possible. But you have to be really passionate about it. And I tell this to everybody, it's not one of those things that I see as a load of fun if you're just gonna coach OPL under 15 and yeah, I think that's a beautiful journey. If you're gonna go into coaching, then go into it 100% or don't go into it at all. And
Yeah.
yeah, the reality is that 100% turns out to be you stay up till 3 a.m., you wake up at 5 a.m. Like sometimes it's crazy ones, like
Holy
it's
cow.
really bad, especially when you're like video analyst. Like that's
Oh.
that's not fun days. But when you're assistant, it's a little bit more easy depending on your role, right?
Yeah.
So for first team staff now I'm talking about, but yeah, I mean it's long days, and if you want to have success, if you want to develop, if you want to grow up the ladder, it's difficult. So that's kind of my first precaution to people in the sense that if you're not willing to do that, and you're not understanding that that's really where you're going, then don't go into it. In terms of starting, start as soon as possible. Try to develop your eye in the sense of watching as many matches as you can
Yeah.
at a high level, at a medium level, at a low level. I was watching so many games where I just went to like League One, like
Yeah.
and League One's relatively low level in terms of world football, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would just drive myself, and when I had my driver's license, and I would just watch League One, and or I would just watch under 17 OPDL. Like it's so unique. How you gain different insights from different levels. So it's not like watching Man City is better than watching under 17 OPDL. Like you gain different insights
Yeah.
for your context, depending on what context you're in. But to kind of go back to the question, I mean, yeah, depending on what country you're in, obviously you can start the C license at a different age with different kind of prerequisites as well. I mean, in Slovakia, everybody was going crazy because they're like, how do you have the A license? Because they can only start when you're 18. And they have like so many rules with like 2 years between licenses and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And the Scottish FA have been really helpful in the sense that they've really tried to push me on in my journey, and they know that my ambition is 22 years old. I want to be a head coach, and I want to be coaching in a top 40 league in Europe, and that's the goal. And I believe it's attainable, and we'll go step by step in order to attain that. But yeah, from the start, it took steps, including the UEFA licenses, including the Canadian licenses, where you can also, if I'm not mistaken, start at the age of 16.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go through the prerequisites for the C license, and then you can go to the C, and then the B, and then the A, and now my next journey is my pro license.
Holy cow. Yeah, no kidding. That Yeah, I can see why you have to stay up until 3 in the morning
Yeah.
sometimes with all the work you got to do. Holy. Um, what I really like there is about you wanting to pay it forward as well. Like you don't want to just be it's just Dominic kind of thing. Like you're open to helping other people kind of along their own journeys from what you've already gained and garnered so far, which is quite nice to hear, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's many people that reach out, 16, 17-year-olds, and they're like, oh, I'm so inspired by your journey. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like, you
Yeah.
better be better than me though, if I'm gonna help you out now.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, when I do go into those chats, it's always about trying to make sure that those people are better prepared than me. Like I try to mentor them and I try to help them out as much as I can. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of those. So I mean, I'm grateful to so many people in Canada and Denmark and Slovakia. I mean, around the world, I have different people that I connect with that I speak to on a daily, weekly basis, whatever it may be. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful to these people. These people have helped me in my journey. So obviously, you have to pay it forward. It's almost like a must in the football world.
Yeah.
But listen, there's many people that don't. There's many
Yeah.
people that it's almost how can I call it? This I forgot the word in English, but it's like a rule.
Yeah.
That's it's like this rule that's not it's not an official rule, but it's like a
An
kind of
unspoken rule kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
unspoken. So that's sort of how I view it in the football world. And yeah, listen, there's so many people that don't abide by this rule.
Yeah. No, and since we're talking about like giving people advice, could you share a piece of advice that someone gave to you that stuck out to you that you kind of still think about now?
Yeah, there's been a lot, so that's a difficult one to pick out. I mean, really, a lot of it comes down to humility,
Hmm.
because I've had many parts of my journey where I've gotten a lot of media recognition, and I kind of have maybe sped up a little bit too fast in terms of the evolution and growth of my journey.
Hmm.
Um, and then with that comes a bit of ego, a bit of cockiness, let's say, a bit of arrogance. So naturally there's going to be those mentors that tell you you have to have humility along your journey, and that's key because I've broken a lot of barriers in terms of being the youngest coach in Slovakia and the top flight, youngest in CPL, whatever it may be. These barriers,
Yeah.
these things kind of get you media attention, and then you're thinking you're on the top of the world. But really, in football, quite quickly you learn one day you're at the top of the world, the next day you have no idea what you're doing. So I mean, it's really a roller coaster journey, and you have to kind of understand that. If you don't understand that, then you're always going to be in for quite a problem. So it's about being quite conscious of that, and understanding the kind of steps you have to go through along your journey.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love that, the humility of it and, taking it
Yeah.
almost one day at a time, one step at a time, almost not getting
Yeah, I
too,
mean the main ones really are like Afshingopi is huge, Yanis Salatsidis is huge.
mm,
He's probably my biggest mentor. There's been many. I mean, Stefan Markovic in Slovakia is really huge. So yeah, there to be honest, there's been a lot.
that's awesome. And of course, you of course started at places like Oakville Soccer Club and with Sigma FC. What are some things that you learned in those stomping grounds, we'll call them, that you still implement today in what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things was like trial and error there, wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
especially with Sigma, I was trying so many things, and it was really cool. Like they gave me the trust to try these things, and I think the players quite enjoyed it as well. I mean, when I left, there were so many messages saying like,
Yeah.
"Oh, such good work," and such a good coach, and best coach I've ever had, or whatever. I mean, at that age, you receive those sort
Yeah.
of messages. When you get pro level, it's a little bit different. Nobody messages
Yeah.
but at that age, it was those messages, and then yeah, no, that was good. It was fun. It was a lot of experimenting. It was a lot of like session designing based on just ideas. Like it wasn't like I was taking from YouTube, copy and pasting. It was all just ideas, just
Yeah.
literally just notepad in front of me, like a board beside the computer. Then I was typing on the computer what I'm gonna do in the session. Then I
Yeah.
had like another board to draw on. Like it was all over the place, but it was ideas all over the place. And then it
Yeah.
came into something. Sometimes that something was terrible. Sometimes it was quite decent. So
Yeah.
listen, you learn from your mistakes, and I think I learned a lot there. I learned a load. And yeah, to be honest, I mean, that debut with the League One team was the biggest learning experience that I've had in
Yeah.
terms of in 90 or let's say 100 and what is it, 105 minutes plus the stoppage time because you have halftime. In
Yeah.
those 120 minutes, let's say, I've never learned more in an 120 minute span than from that game where John was suspended, the head coach, and Phil took the previous game, who's kind of a senior coach at the club, and
Yeah.
I took the next game, and yeah, that was, to be honest, huge experience because we were leading. I think we were eighth or ninth in the table, and we were playing against the best team in the league,
Mm.
as Crisopi at the time, and yeah, we were leading 2-1 halftime. I mean, it was probably one of their first times that they've been losing
Yeah.
um, at halftime in that league season. And then I knew I did like this crazy like data analysis, and I'm like between the 45th and 60th minute, they're the most dangerous team in the league. They're like incredibly dangerous. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna switch to 5-4-1. Like that was my football manager thinking, or like
Yeah.
career mode thinking on FIFA.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like it was perfect in that sense. I'm like, wow, I'm a tactical genius. I'm gonna go 5-4-1. It's gonna be great. We're gonna defend compact. We're gonna survive this 15-minute spell, and then we're gonna go into the 4-3-3. And then in 7 minutes, so it's the 52nd minute, we're losing 3-2. I'm like, that probably wasn't a good decision. So yeah, because they didn't train it, and you
Yeah.
learn that over time. Is like, yeah, you go into a 5-4-1 at halftime. They have no idea. They're like looking at a board. They're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Especially at that level. I mean, it's different if you're talking like Champions League or Premier League or
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
just top flight. If you change into a 5-4-1 from a 4-3-3, players would be able to manage it because they have some history, they have some pattern recognition that they've already developed within that system because they've probably endured it already during their career because you have more experienced players with more experiences, with more references stored. So, but yeah, I mean, at that semi-professional level, no chance, no chance. So it was like 5-4-1 was disaster. Like I was looking at it, I'm like, this does not look like a 5-4-1.
Yeah. No, but like you said though, it's good learning experience. So to now know, like, okay, next time we practice these things before we implement them, because it's good to have the idea, of course, right? But then you have to also be like, we have this great idea, and now we can execute the idea greatly too.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's part of the process. I mean, the execution is the most important part, and then
Mm.
yeah, but that's the coach's decision, and
Yeah,
from those decisions you learn because then your execution becomes better. Your coach decision becomes a lot better. Your coach action.
yeah, and now kind of moving up from Sigma, what was it like to make that jump from Sigma, a semi-professional level, to Vancouver FC, like the top flight in Canada?
Yeah, yeah, no, that was listen, that was fantastic in the sense of I was with the best coach in the league
Yeah.
for me at that time. So I was really knocking on doors in CPL at that time in terms of who would take me and where the right opportunity is for me. And Vancouver gave me an opportunity and really was the ideal place for me. Like I'm still in touch with Afshin on a weekly basis. So
Awesome, awesome.
Afshin is someone who's a mentor to me, an extremely huge mentor, and I've learned a lot from him. And as I said, there was no better place for me to go at that time because I was with the coach who has the most experience in the league, without a doubt, at that
Mm.
time. So I mean, 4 World Cups, nobody in that league has
Yeah,
that. The
yeah,
reality in terms of experiences at those World Cups. So no, huge mentor, huge experiences. Also with his assistant, Marco Antonio Alvarez Ferreira. I always love saying his name. His like nickname is Kosa.
yeah,
But yeah, we I think we went for sushi every evening. I mean, I mean we stayed at the stadium after the session, and we would watch games. We would analyze opponents. We would analyze training sessions. We would analyze our matches, and then in the evening, 5-6 p.m., we would go to the sushi place, have a very nice sushi meal. We would
yeah,
always swap who's paying the bill. One night him, next night me. It was lovely. It was honestly lovely. Best
yeah,
times of my life. So really, really enjoyed that. Great experience, and I regret that I left as early as I did because I think if I would have stayed in that project, I just would have been in a different position in the sense that it was really around the right people and in the right environment. And the reason maybe people how can I say is lose kind of connections in their journey is because they're not loyal. And luckily Afshin was nice enough to keep connected with me. And
Yeah.
even though I probably showed a bit of lack of respect to him in the sense that I told him that I'm gonna go abroad one day before it really happened. So that was disrespectful on my end. And you learn from that. I mean, I was a young guy. I don't know how things go in the industry, but still I should know better.
Mm.
So that was really huge experiences. But as I said, if I would have stayed, I think I would have been with the best group of people in the CPL and in terms of staff. And we could have hopefully pushed for something really exciting, which they still did.
Yeah.
But I could have been a part of it. So yeah, it's obviously you regret some things, but to be honest, I never regret anything. It's just I look back and see, okay, I maybe would have done this differently now. Maybe I learned from this now. But yeah, you never regret anything. It's all part of the journey, and you have to learn from it. But regretting it is just going back in time into the past unnecessarily. So it's
Yeah.
just about the present.
Absolutely. And now, you have those experiences to build on those great sushi nights and
Yeah,
watching video,
fantastic.
watching game, and now you can kind of take that with you in your next steps too. So even if it didn't maybe per se end on a note that you would have perhaps liked it to, it's still a great experience, I think. And the fact that you guys are still in touch, I think speaks volumes to the impression that you both made on each other.
Absolutely, and even like Kosa, same thing. So Kosa, we're still in touch. Yeah, so I think we built a really special relationship there, and yeah, even in a short span of time, which I'm really grateful for on my end.
Yeah. And sticking with Vancouver for a little bit, is there a memorable result, game, moment for you that was like, okay, I'm so happy I was a part of that win or that draw or that moment, something like that?
Forge away. To be honest, I forgot the score in that match.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I think it was 2-1, but we won. Forge away. It was absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. And so that was one. And then I think we played a Valor in our first match at home and we won 4-0. That was another one. So those two are ones that really, really stick with me. I
Mm.
remember Forge away, we had like a very beautiful bus picture and I didn't look too handsome in the picture, but it was a nice team picture. So no,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed those two results. I'm thinking if there's any other, but no, I think those two are the biggest ones that we had.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Especially like to go up against a team like Forge, one of the
Yeah,
most successful club in the CPL, over getting a result there and
it's huge.
is
It's
huge.
huge.
Yeah, it's massive. But a little bit now about talking about your journey in Slovakia here. How does that opportunity arise and what kind of goes through your head? Because that is just a huge cultural shift, I'd assume, going from Canada to Slovakia and having
Yeah.
to learn the culture and learn the play style and all that. So kind of what's that process like?
Yeah, so that's a busy one because there was a kind of stepping stone in between, which was FC Midtjylland, and
Mm,
that stepping stone was a good one for me in
mm,
Denmark, and I was there for around 4 or 5 months. And then obviously when you're in FC Midtjylland, then when you're in a club that reputable and of that size, then it's quite easy to get that next step.
yeah,
This was really the right one for me, so I made that decision quite early. With Midtjylland, the deal was from the start that if something pops up that interests me in terms of a responsibility level, that's going to be a lot higher. That we would kind of agree to part ways, and it was clear that was the right opportunity for me. So I went in as first assistant in the Slovak top flight. We had three assistants at the start, and then it went down to two because one of the assistants got a head coaching job in the top flight in the Slovak first division as well.
yeah,
Uh, so no, it was huge experiences. And then yeah, obviously in terms of how you get that, it's through that stepping stone. So it's through the stepping stone of FC Midtjylland, and it's a big club. And then when people look at that as a club of that size, then and they say, yeah, this guy's probably got some experience or understands the game at a pretty high level. And especially, I really sat with the head coach quite early.
Mhm.
He's one of my best friends in life, so we had a very good 15 months together, and yeah, to be honest, fantastic working with him. He then got a job opportunity to also part with his role as a head coach with Podbrezova in the Slovak top flight. He also worked at under 21 national team for the Slovak national team as an assistant.
Holy cow.
So that meant during international breaks, I led the team, which was obviously a fantastic
Yeah, it's
experience. You have
awesome.
30, 31-year-olds, 32-year-olds, and you're creating session plans. You're leading a match at the end of the week. Yeah, obviously it's a friendly match, but still, it's really cool to have these sort of experiences at a top level. I mean, Slovak top flight is a much higher level than the CPL. So I mean, it was very cool experiences, and with humility and with a really humble approach and a hardworking approach and a lot of fighting spirit every day. I think I learned a lot in that experience, and I think I grew a lot as a coach, but
Yeah.
more importantly, as a person. To be honest, to this point in time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And kind of speaking of getting to be on the sideline, whether you're an assistant coach or the head coach for a couple friendlies as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
What's kind of going through your head during a match? Because I can only imagine the high intensity that you have to endure during those games, whether you're, watching, trying to analyze how to protect a lead, get a lead, just get a result. Like what's going through your head in some of these moments?
Busy, quite busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I was how can I kind of explain this? I was sort of the bench lead
Mm,
in Podbrezova, so I was responsible for dividing roles for everybody in a way that made sense. And the goalkeeper coach, who's very kind of experienced. He is 51 or so, 52 years old. He was responsible for the head coach in terms of his behavior. So a head coach obviously naturally has some sort of patterns on the sideline,
yeah.
but then he needs someone who can kind of pull him back in some sort of way in some situations and take control of him. It wasn't really me because I'm a 20-year-old guy and I'm a young guy, and obviously I'm not that guy who's also for me it wouldn't work in terms of my mind is completely in a different place. So when Stefan was going crazy on the sideline, like I was thinking about like our mid block isn't working, we should change to a 2-1-2 instead of a 1-2-2 or whatever it may be, right? So
Yeah.
these are the kind of things that you kind of think about. But over time, I became I would sort of call it the bench lead in terms of I would divide roles to the other assistants and to the analysts who was up in the booth in terms of what they would be doing, what they would be looking at, and overall our process in terms of match process improved. Yeah, I would say by 200, 300%. So yeah, even more probably because to be honest, at the start it was a disaster. So uh, yeah, bench process, I was kind of in charge of that, and it improved by a lot. And to be honest, it's about making sure that you maximize the abilities of every person in the staff. And
Yeah.
if you're able to do that, then you're able to analyze things a lot quicker. You're able to recognize things a lot quicker. What you really need is people that aren't emotional. I mean, there's so many times where I, for example, was watching on the iPad. I was watching a situation, and then the assistant who was in charge of the set piece, he sat down next to me, and he told me like, "Look at the iPad here. They're not doing this well." I'm like, I'm looking at something here. Like right now,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was dealing with set pieces. I'm like, my friend, that's your job to deal with set.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with something else here. So no,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many situations like that, but obviously, so much respect for the assistants that I worked with. I worked with a 51-year-old, worked with a 41-year-old. So, they're guys two, three times my age almost. So,
Yeah.
so much respect for them, and yeah, I learned a lot from them, and I think they learned a lot from me because I received so many good messages also from players and staff members after my departure. So I think that was positive on that end.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you kind of keep on mentioning about like being so busy in your head, like on the sideline. How do you kind of filter those thoughts into, an actual game plan mid-game? Because you got so much going on. You have coaches coming up to you asking you questions, players, I'm sure, probably doing the same at points. How do you filter all those thoughts into coherent instructions and sentences and suggestions?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is by pattern recognition.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was in charge of the defensive organization, and then it was a lot of pattern recognition in terms of understanding first what the opponent does. So that was my first 10-minute interval, um, in terms of the match. So the first 10 minutes, I was just understanding the opponent. So I was just noting down pattern recognition, noting down what rhythms they're using, trying to understand because typically in football there's some sort of structure, but it's just who makes that structure. Many times it's about how fluid is it? Is it somebody else making that structure in different situations? Or are they changing it? Are they fluid? Are they quite rigid in their structure? That typically gives you a good insight into how you should set up the defensive organization. For us, the 5-1-2-2 gave us so much variability in terms of how we can press the opponent in the side channels and how we can
Mm.
really have good balance on axes and so many different things in terms of how we can really tie them down in positions where we can regain the ball and be dangerous in attacking transition. That was key for us because we had two very threatening center forwards who were yeah, at the start it was Daniel Smekal, but then he went to Pardubice. Then we changed towards Radek Schiller and Roland Galchik, who's
Mm.
like one more of a, I would call it kind of the Burnley link up, where one's a little bit more of a target man and maybe a
Yeah.
runner in behind, and the other one's kind of between lines. So really good kind of combination. Burnley under Sean Dyche, of course,
Yeah.
and yeah, really good combination. Those two they had together, and yeah, really, it's for me in the defensive organization, it was about trying to understand what works best most of the time because it's not always going to work. It's just about not changing if you don't have to change. If you don't have to change, and then don't change. But
Mm.
really, it was minor changes for us. So we never went to a back four. We always kept the back five. But it within the kind of front pack structure, which is the top five of the team,
Yeah.
uh, we would have 2-1-2, we would have 2-2-1, we would have diamond one, we would have 1-2-2. So we would have these minor kind of we would have 1-3-1 sometimes, which is almost like diamond one, but a little bit different in terms of
Yeah.
the player type, the typology and the position. So yeah, so we had different variants there, and it was about not changing if you didn't have to change. And then for the attacking organization, which I was really the analyst was working with that and kind of dealing with that, and I was helping him a lot. It was a lot about just understanding the windows that open up and trying to use the windows. So if it was between the 7 and the 8 of the opposition, then we try to expose that. We tried to have a field tilt towards the left side, and then expose those situations with overloads, with our outside center back and our three going in line with the winger, and then trying to stretch that window, whatever it may be. But
Yeah.
trying to make sure that we create good situations for us to progress forward and speed up between the lines. Um, that was that. And then for us, we had a really clear system in terms of what we worked with. So 0 to 10 for me was watching opposition. Um, 10 to 10 to around 40 was really live dealing with situations. So if it was like defensive organization wasn't working, then I would say maybe we were in 5-1-2-2 and we want to change to 5-2-1-2. I'm like, Stefan, look at the board here. They have a
Yeah.
3-2 base. It makes sense for us to move into 5-2-1-2 because of this, blah blah blah. Within that interval, and then between the 40th and 45th, I would have clips ready, tagged
Yeah.
on the iPad, and that would go to the analyst. He would quickly telestrate them, and then he would be down in the locker room to speak with the head coach at halftime in terms of any clips that we might potentially want to show players, either on a team level, group level, or individual level. So then we would sort that out at that time. And
Oh,
different people do different things. So team level is obviously the head coach Stefan, and group level typically would be me,
mm.
or individual also me, and then David, the analyst, would do any individual ones that he thought were necessary on his end.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of moving parts. Holy.
Yes,
Really
it
cool
is.
though that you get to like get the video. I didn't even know that was a proper thing. Like mid game, you get the video and you guys are already analyzing that stuff like come
Yeah,
halftime. That's so cool. Um,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. That sounds just so stressful thinking about it though. Just having to watching all these patterns and going, okay, what can work here? What can work here? But
Yeah, no, it's a lot in the moment, and
yeah.
there's many times like people were laughing at me that they saw me in TV, and I was like crunched over looking at the iPad, and
Yeah.
on Y Scout,
Just
if you
analyzing
watch
a game.
videos of that, then you just see me from like 10 centimeters away from the iPad, just staring at it. So
Yeah.
I was definitely a lot more, especially first half. I was probably 90% iPad, 10% actually watching up, and the 10% was usually after we scored a goal, not
Yeah.
even when we scored the goal, because typically like everybody's like going to celebrate, like we're about to score a goal, but I
Mm.
was like just in the moment of like finding the right solution for our mid block or our high press. So I was like, I need to concentrate now, and then
Yeah.
when we scored a goal, I'm like, yes, I'm flying, I'm hugging Stefan, I'm going all over the place. So no, it's good emotion. It's good emotion. The professional game, and especially at a first team level.
That's awesome. And something else I thought was really cool was although you've been coaching and whatnot, you're also still pursuing getting your degree. So can you tell us how you've been already sounds super busy. How have you been balancing getting your degree as well on top of all of this?
I mean, just a lot of work and a lot of time commitment. And yeah, listen, there's been times where, as I said, as a football coach, sometimes you feel absolutely top on top of the world, and sometimes you feel really down as if you don't want to do anything, and you're really um, you really don't have any motivation to do anything. So,
Yeah.
really, at those times, it's difficult because you tend to procrastinate, and when you start to procrastinate, it's not so good.
Mhm.
So it's really about making sure that you try to find the happiness in each day, understand that each moment is a gift, and you take advantage of each moment, whatever you're doing. If you're clipping video, if you're running a training session, if you're running an exercise, if you're studying for your bachelor's degree, whatever it may be, trying to really take advantage of the fact that you're able to do that, because many people in the world don't have that opportunity where they get to pursue a degree or whatever it may be. And for that reason, I'm always grateful, and I'm always looking in the present moment in terms of yeah, really trying to understand that everything that I'm doing is a gift, and hopefully my effort into that gift, in terms of how much effort I'm putting into making sure
Yeah.
that something comes out of it, pays off one day.
That's awesome. A couple more here for you. Just back at coaching now. What is one of the most fulfilling parts about getting to be a coach, getting to be in a locker room with all these guys who, you guys are all working so hard day in, day out, coaching staff, players, what have you. What are some of those most fulfilling aspects of the job when things are going really well?
Absolutely a win. And absolutely a win when you get a win, and you go to the locker room, and wow, I mean, what a feeling. What a feeling. It's the
Mhm.
best feeling. And yeah, just kind of thinking about those emotions that I had after every win. I mean, it's really special emotions. It's the best emotions, because you realize you're like, sometimes you're 16 hours thinking about football, like 5 days in the week before
Yeah.
you have a match. And then it's like, yeah, you better have emotion if you win. If you don't, you're crazy. And that's why I was always on some of the guys, like the guys that didn't play, for example. They didn't come
Mm.
off the bench, and they were like sad that they didn't play. I'm like, unacceptable, that
Yeah.
unacceptable. Like, you better be happy now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
better be happy, because I worked my tail off all week to try to help this team. You worked your tail off in every session to push the players. You better be happy, because this is a team sport. It's not an individual sport. So that
100%.
was something that I was huge on. I mean, I was really frustrated with some of the young guys there. So yeah, I learned a lot from these kinds of things, because management wise, it teaches you a lot. And at a young age, management is key to learn. Really important to learn. And I learned a lot, and I'm really comfortable and confident with the level I'm at the moment, in terms of management and man management, and how to
Yeah.
deal with different egos, different social statuses, because some guys have, I don't know, 30, 40, 50,000 followers on Instagram, and they think they're the god of football. It's like, relax, it's okay. We're all humans, and we're working towards something special together. It's not like you're gonna help us more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So everybody's important in the collective, and it's important that everybody understands that. If they don't, then you have problems immediately.
Awesome. And on socials, you had posted that you've been getting to take a break a little bit. It's been nice to recharge and whatnot. So, how much have you gotten to like enjoy this? little break that you've been taking, recharge, kind of reflecting on what you've done in these just past 2, 3 years already. Like, have you been able to just kind of sit back and go, wow, like I've accomplished a whole ton and there's still a lot more to go kind of thing?
Yeah, to be honest, haven't done that.
No, fair.
No, I mean it's good that you bring that up because I should, and so many people remind me of it. My biggest mentors remind me of it. Look back and really be proud of what you've accomplished. Haven't done that. I've been working on this project proposal for a club. It's probably going to be 500, 600 pages. I'm doing it with
Holy.
two other kind of colleagues, and it's something that's on my mind at the moment. That's going to be at a world class level, and it's going to be something that I propose to any clubs that I would be kind of offer the opportunity to go in as a head coach in the future. And I would kind of offer this template, and this template I would do for their club as well before I go into the head coaching position, just to make sure I understand the club in a huge level in terms of the level of detail and how in depth I want to go with that club. So that's really key for me. Now I'm working on that project again with two other colleagues, and yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be something that's really on a world class level, and I'm excited for the outcome of it.
Wow, that's amazing. 5 to 6, that's wild. But so like a project proposal, like what that's just to kind of be like, this is the things that I can do, this is the things that the club can do. Is that kind of what that
Yep.
sort of thing is?
Not necessarily. So really, yeah, the way I've looked at football in the past, from the start of my journey, really to about a couple months ago, maybe, is that I have a ton of ideas and I'm going to implement them. But really, your ideas only come in the sixth or seventh place.
Mm,
First come finances, the team, the players within the team, their heritage, their background, what have they experienced, what have they been successful in, what have they not been successful in, ownership, culture, diversity within the squad, religions within the squad, so many different things
holy
that have to come
crap.
first before your ideas come in. So, I mean, for example, culture and religion, they're huge things in terms of impacting how players want to play and
Yeah.
how they don't want to play, how they
Yeah.
want to be coached, how they don't want to be coached. So these are things that you have to realize. And it's like, okay, I'm going to come with my ideas and 40% aren't going to be on board. I'm going to sit them on the bench. That's what 90% of coaches do.
Holy crap.
40% aren't on board. I'm going to sit them on the bench. Most of those players have a lot of value,
Yeah.
especially Premier League level and top level. Those guys have a lot of value, and you're sitting them on the bench. Why? Because of your ego and because you're doing things the wrong way.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying that's the wrong way. That's my wrong way in my lens.
Yeah. Yeah.
My lens, you have to understand people, and then from that, you can build something. You can start to implement your ideas, but your ideas only come in the sixth and seventh step. So really, this project proposal is done for a club. It's called That's Dunajska Castreda, but it's not necessarily that I want to go into the club or that I have an offer to go into the club. It's
Mm,
just a club that I pick because I know quite a bit about them in terms of the kind of outside noise that I could know about them, but inside I don't
yeah.
really know. So I research that, so I do different things on that, and then it's about maximally understanding that club in order to theoretically give them a project proposal, but I'm not giving it to them. So it's really about understanding all these things about the club that I just mentioned. It's a league analysis, it's a team analysis on an in-depth level, on a data level, on a video level. Not really too much video; it's more data. I want to
Yeah.
keep it more objective because I always think when you're building a house, then the basement has to be concrete and it has to be objective.
Yeah.
And then the walls and the chimney, it can be subjective. It can be your ideas. It can be your methods, your way of thinking. When you have a tree, then the trunk is objective. It has to be data, and then the
Yeah.
branches and leaves can be subjective, and they could be what I call crap, because really it is. Every coach has different crap. So yeah, there's different ways of looking at football, but I've really become crystal clear that this is the way I want to look at it, and it's going to work for me in the future.
That is so fascinating. Holy, that sounds one like a lot of work, but two, that sounds insanely fascinating.
Yeah,
I got one final question for you here,
no
Dominic. I know
problem.
we just kind of talked about this project proposal, but what is next for Dominic Rhino? What are some future goals that you have lined up in the next coming little bit? I'd love to know.
Yeah, by 22, head coach, top 40 league. That's still the goal. I'm not going to change that. I want to win Champions League. Listen, that's the goal. But obviously,
Yeah.
some people say that when I say that I'm arrogant, I'm not arrogant. It's just a goal.
Yeah.
Whether I achieve that or not, it's to be seen. But I'm gonna go for it with all I can. And listen, to that point, it's a step-by-step journey. Currently, I've declined a lot of offers
Mm,
that have come my way, and in the winter time, I've reached out to a lot of people. Some have gone back, some haven't gone
mm,
back. Mostly for conversations to speak in the future, to stay connected in the future. And yeah, at the moment, I'm currently dealing with some things potentially in Estonia, some things potentially in Sweden,
mm.
um, Lithuania. I was dealing with, but really, to be honest, most likely at this point in time, it's going to be looking at summer and something in Slovakia, in Poland, potentially in the Czech Republic, something around those areas. In a first assistant capacity, or potentially head coach in a second or first division.
That sounds awesome. Dominic, thank you so much, man. Wish you absolutely nothing but the best. I hope to see an announcement maybe on your Instagram or something when you do get that head coaching job in the next little bit, or wherever you may land as an assistant coach, wherever. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best, and would just like to thank you so much for your time. And if you want, let the people know where to find you, to reach out, maybe just follow you on socials or whatnot. I'll let you do that.
Yeah, listen, for me, it's probably the most important that people really understand what I said before in terms of paying it forward. I want to pay it forward. So if anybody is on a similar journey and needs help, or on some advice, then I'm very open to helping out in any way that I can. And yeah, for anyone that I also posted on LinkedIn a while back, but for anyone that wants to connect, I'm in a period where I'm without a job, so I'm very happy to speak with anyone over a Zoom call, over a phone call, and have a good in-depth conversation about kind of how we view football, and how we can kind of inspire each other in a positive way. So that's really my goal, and I hope as many people as possible reach out, and we can have good, engaging conversations about football, because that's really my biggest passion and my
Yeah.
greatest love.
That's awesome. Dominic, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it today. So all the best, and we'll be cheering for you here on Maple Footy.
Thank you so much for having me on, Sam. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So that does wrap up our interview with Domenic Rajna. I do hope you enjoyed, and another big time thank you to Dominic for making that happen. Really appreciate him and his time. I hope that you enjoyed it, listening to it, and if you did enjoy it, I have great news. I have a few other interviews that you can go and listen to. If you are watching/listening to this on YouTube, I have a little playlist that will actually be linked at the end of this video anyway, so you'll be able to just click on that and watch our other interviews. Some good ones. All of them are good ones, let's be real. If you're watching this listening to this, on any other podcasting platforms, I don't have playlists there. You would just have to manually search them, so I do apologize for that. Maybe one day they'll introduce like a little playlist thing, unless they already have, and I just don't know about it. But regardless, once again, hope you enjoyed it, and once again, a thank you to Dominic for making that happen. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you for listening to it, and until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates. Remember to support Canadian football, be kind, and until next time, live, laugh, little.